a while back that we update our documents. There are a number of things in our documents that are very old. We've never had updating the documents. It takes a vote of all the unit owners to make modifications, but there's some things that need to be done. I've asked legal counsel to look into what issues are critical that should be done, should be updated. One of the things that stands out is the architectural committee that was set up really in the interest of the developer, and it was never changed after that. It only has 3 members when there are 4 buildings, 4 associations, and it has actually, in certain respects, more power than the elected board. So you have an appointed architectural committee that can make decisions for all of us without us having really recourse other than the board voting out the members, putting new members of the committee, and revisiting the issue that they voted on. So they have too much power for 3 people that are appointed and not elected. And the idea would be to change the documents to have 4 members, 1 from each building, with recommending power only, and they would analyze whatever changes are being presented to them, and then come back to the board and make a recommendation, and the board votes it up and down, like a committee, just like every other committee. And that's something that's still in our documents, going back to when Fritz Scharenberg ran the property. The other thing I wanted to bring up, the President's report, is email policy. In the past, we've had a lot of discussion going on among the members of the board on various issues. And as soon as a member of the board sends out an email with an opinion about something and copies every other member, then what's happening is that opinions are being solicited from all the other board members to make a comment about a policy issue. You, the public, are not participating in that discussion. That's not right. Board meetings are to be held in public so that every unit owner can listen and be aware of the discussion that's going on and participate. When you have emails substituting for board meetings, that's not a best practice, and therefore I'm bringing this to the attention of the board that email should be used for the purpose of a committee member communicating with other committee members for a meeting that's going to be held, the manager communicating something that has to do with operations to the board that the board needs to be informed about, or the president or an officer, depending on the function of that officer, communicating with board members on issues that are pertinent to that particular officer. But that we discourage having back and forth, and basically what you end up with is a 24/7 board meeting of emails going back and forth, and it's not healthy, and it's not fair to all of the unit owners who are not privy to these discussions that are going on. So I'd like to make a motion to ratify this policy that all board policy discussions taking place between board members be done only at board meetings, subject to those exceptions that I raised. Anybody want to comment on that?
I'd like to make a comment.
Since you already commented.
Joe,
go ahead. Okay.
Yes, I'd like to make a comment, which is that we can have whatever policy we want, but ultimately it's about board members governing their own behavior, right? We can have a policy, but as long as somebody has a keyboard and a mouse and an email address, they can send whatever emails they want. And I think if the board's really committed as individuals, because there is no such thing as the board as an organization that governs the behavior of individuals. The board is committed as individuals to what you've just laid out, then I think it'll be effective. If they're not, as they haven't been in the past, then it's just more words into the air.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I'd just like to ask any board members here present tonight if anybody has a problem with that policy and that we function in that way.
I just want to clarify something.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. I think that it was way overboard last year. Way too much. And many of us, if not everybody on this board, one time or the other reflected on it and talked about it. But what I want some clarification on is, how does it affect when you talk to another board member, or maybe 3 board members? At one point, is it not okay for me to have a beer with another board member, or maybe a 3rd board member?
What kind of beer?
To talk about issues. Because I've always felt for a long time, we have so many issues, that if we flush them out only at the board meetings, we won't have enough time. I always felt it was a smart thing in a collegiate way to meet with other board members who share similar values and talk about issues. And is that now not permitted anymore?
No, that's not the case.
Tony, can I add, there's nothing wrong with that. Board members can still get together as long as there's not more than 4.
Yeah.
3 board members wanna go to the sandbar and have a drink, I don't see anything wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. Our attorney.
Even if they wanna talk about, and even if they wanna talk about HOA issues.
Right.
there's no
Well,
problem.
we are
Oh,
not.
there's more than a quorum.
Yeah, no, that's a problem. To answer your question, the condominium boards are not subject to the same sunshine law that municipalities are subject to. Municipalities, they can't even talk to each other between meetings. They have to come before the public and only speak to each other then, which really limits a lot of the things that they can do. That is not the case with condominiums. What is the case with condominiums is that you cannot have a quorum of the board meeting in a back room somewhere, making decisions, and then bringing as a group to the board and having everything already figured out. That's what is the state, regulations don't allow you to do. But you can have a drink, you can have 4 people in here and talk about issues, but you can't have a quorum. So obviously, the idea is that.
Wait a second.
The idea is that you have.
You just confused me. You can have a meeting with 4 people and talk about things, but you can't have a quorum.
Right, which is 5. That's all he said.
Quorum is 5.
Right, yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine.
All right, has it been seconded?
Because
So, yeah, so,
I'm gonna approve it or?
yeah, on the email policy, it's been seconded, so, all those in favor of the email policy?
Now, there's no teeth to this policy, right? There's just our commitment to each other and to our association and to
Well,
and to the owners.
there are two things, Matt. One, it's not a best practice, and 2, it begins, it is on the border of improper behavior, because in essence, by having an email conversation with a quorum of the board, in fact, with all of the board members, we're essentially having a board meeting without the public present, and that's what should not be done.
As an example, let me bring something up, because they almost don't know. When you put out the agenda, and I disagreed with the agenda, what would have been the right forum for me to communicate that to you? You email
Yeah,
or phone call?
any board member can email me and say, I want to add something to the agenda that I think is important, or I object to something on the agenda. And at which point, then I will poll the board members to see if they have any problem with that. As president, I have the prerogative to set the agenda for meetings. That's what the president does.
Okay.
And so, yeah, definitely
What's it appropriate?
communicate with me. In other words, what you did, Rudy, in this case, you sent an email to everybody on the board. What you should do is just communicate to me, and then I'll respond to you. Okay, fine, I'll put it on the agenda, or no, and I'll poll all the other members.
You will respond to me?
Absolutely, I did respond to you.
This time you did, but it's been a long time coming.
No, I've always responded to you. That's not the case.
Is it approved?
Okay, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, it carries. The last point is.
Jay, you have a question? Jay?
I don't have a question, just really a comment, just to refine what Tony Canega said. You can all communicate all you want procedurally about things on agendas and things like that. You just can't communicate about the substance of any issue that you're going to deliberate about.
For
So
example,
Rudy, you could email all the other people about, I don't want this on the agenda, I do want this on the agenda, but you can't discuss substantively the issues that are going to be on the agenda.
thank you for that clarification. That's correct.
And
I know it's just a real fine point, but
No, that's correct, yeah. Okay, the next point on the agenda is the issue of electronic voting. At this meeting, I just wanted to bring it up because in order to approve electronic voting, it has to be announced 14 days in advance of the meeting. So what I'd like to suggest is that if the board is open to this idea, is that we approve at this meeting to have it at our next meeting and notice it in advance according to the rules to take up the discussion of whether or not we want to have electronic voting. So basically, at this meeting, we're just going to say, yes, we think it's a good idea. One of the things that we worked very hard on a number of years ago, before when I was president, and Tony Whitten was one of the people that really stressed the importance of communication with the owners, was that we established a database of all the owners so that we could communicate with everybody, both for substantive issues as well as for emergencies and so on, that we need to get a hold of everybody. And this also facilitates going forward electronic voting because we're able to communicate with everybody.
But that would be for unit issues, this
Yeah.
would be for anything we're doing here.
No, this would be for things like approving changes to the documents. Renee, you want to talk? Renee, did you want to say something?
No.
Oh, okay. So that, yeah, it would include things where all the unit owners have to vote on. For example, a material change in amenities and things like that. So this is, and also for board elections as well. That people would have. By the way, if we approve this, people have the option to vote electronically or vote with paper.
I think it's a good idea that we discuss it, but also we have this discussion, we need to talk about the scope, when it's gonna be used, how it's gonna be used,
Sure,
not
of
just
course.
in general.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I don't want this meeting just to be in generalities, we have to get,
Right.
whoever's gonna coordinate this has to give the specifics. and
Absolutely.
everything.
Absolutely, for sure.
Is it a motion, or
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we.
That we put it on the
that
agenda.
we put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Right.
I
Okay.
second.
Okay, any further discussion to put it on the
No,
agenda?
I just make one comment to everybody that, like, I emphasize what you said, is that this is considering adding an additional option for owners.
Right.
You can still vote the way we've always voted for 40 years, but if it's more convenient to you, or for whatever reason you're out of the country or whatever, you have the option, just like your bank, where you can bank electronically or you can bank by paper, you don't, it's not a forced choice, and you could even alternate, alternate back and forth, it's personal.
This is, the idea of this is being unit owner friendly and getting more participation from the unit owners.
The only suggestion I would have is that besides discussion next time, to also complete the question. Let's make a decision.
We'll have a full report on it. We'll have it on the agenda, or we know this 14 days in advance, Eric, and we'll have our attorney here.
You vote on it.
And we'll have our attorney here to explain it, and then
So we're not gonna kick it into August and September.
we can vote on it at the board's pleasure. I only put things on the agenda, I don't control the votes.
The sooner is better.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
One other thing I wanted to report.
Did we vote,
Oh, I'm sorry.
just to be clear?
Okay, all those in favor of putting this on the agenda for the
Aye.
next meeting, say aye. All those opposed? And, aye, okay, from Renee, any abstentions? The motion passes.
No, that's fine.
Okay, good. The other thing I want to report to the board, we had a lawsuit that's been pending for quite a long time by a unit owner that had a problem with issue of mold in an office that we had rented out. This was an unfortunate incident. I got involved after the fact, coming on to the board's president. I met with a person, and I also spoke with a number of board members about this issue. My my conclusion was that basically the board received what I would consider bad advice from legal counsel, who may not have considered all the ramifications of the issue at the time, and I think he recognized that. And that led to the problem getting worse and worse and escalating. So the lack of communication caused a situation that ended up costing us money. The good news is that it's been settled, it's been closed, and it's now that issue is behind us. And I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention.
And that's
I'd just like to make one comment on that.
Before you go, Tom? Go ahead.
It's finished and over with.
Yes?
Yeah, then we ought to make it very clear. The lady's name is Fleming. She's in Thai Bar. And this was a thing where we were being very helpful to her, giving her an office. You know, good deeds don't go unpunished. As far as I'm concerned, that cost every one of us in this room, between the settlement and the legal costs, cost us about $80 a piece for 1,100 and some members. And I mean, as far as I'm concerned, she should be shunned.
Right.
Well-
So the comment that I would make it doesn't pertain to that. I would just say that one of the major problems that we had, and we remedied this, is that the lease we had in place with her didn't protect the association as well as it should have. We had a lease that was missing numerous provisions, requiring her to have insurance, identifying our association, some of the typical boilerplate stuff. It was an old lease from years ago. I don't know who signed it, but it was, you know, she'd been in that space for years and years and years.
But she was still one of us, right, Matt?
I think,
Yeah, wait.
Tom, I'm not disputing what you said. I'm just saying that as an
Limited time,
association, the
limited.
lesson learned from that, and we have learned it,
No, I
is
agree.
that we now have leases in place with all of the people on our property that protect us better. So that's,
Good.
for the owners, I'm saying,
Before we-
you know, I'm saying that's, you know.
Before we move on with Luisa. Okay, Luisa, go ahead.
I mean, we met, myself and Matt met with the person in question. And just to be fair, this is one of our unit owners. I mean, there was obviously an issue, and it wasn't that she was very credible. I mean, she runs a pretty successful business, and she used that space to store her files and all that. So I don't want this to be about like a public humiliation of somebody. This was an issue, and we had to settle it. We weren't given proper advice, and we did our best. And she had a much higher amount that she wanted, but Tony was able to bring her down and make her sort of see some sense. But sometimes these things happen. So unfortunately, this is what happened, and we had to pay.
Before you comment, I also wanted to point out the following, that reviewing the situation with her, and Tom, with all due respect, I have to differ with and that is, every unit owner here deserves to be treated with respect. I met with her. I felt that she was credible in the situation that she faced. Her business was very seriously damaged by what happened to her. It could have been settled very quickly. Unfortunately, again, the board got bad advice. It should have been handled. And my philosophy is, when there's a problem, you engage immediately with the problem. You talk to people. You try to